Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news. As always, I'm Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Overall, this is a rather tame week. There's a couple new game announcements, updates, and releases. A VR MMO is about to go free to play, and it looks like some of those new Android XR headsets are right around the corner. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead. Well, let's start things off like normal with the check-in, and that's what exactly have I been up to in the VR world. Well, first up, today is actually Father's Day while I'm recording this, so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and because of that, I am rocking my Only Dads sweatshirt. Bam. Right there, represent dads. But in the VR world, guys, I just got back from AWE. It was an absolutely amazing trip, tons of technology, and I walked home with a Play for Dream headset, which has already really impressed me. So I want to spend about a month or so with that headset, running through all its paces, and I'll have a review up in the near future. If you guys have any other questions or anything you want to see about that headset, like any specific questions, drop them in the comments right now, and let's not waste any more time. Let's just get into this week's new releases. First up, the truly unique gambling title Death Game Hotel is going free to play. Now, I covered this title a while back, and it's a bizarre series of competitive games where you actually gamble with things like your limbs. Now, some of the competitions are quite common, with experiences similar to a game of poker, but there's also a massive variation in gameplay, with some experiences that were completely new and took me a while to wrap my head around. Now, besides the online multiplayer competition, there's also a full single-player campaign, where the experience plays out almost like a combination between Squid Games and some sort of bizarre dark web reality TV show. Overall, I found it intriguing, but I just didn't connect to some of the gameplay. Now, next up, we have the Smurfs Flower Defense. This is a tower defense title playable in both virtual and mixed reality, and you'll be actively switching between some of the iconic Smurfs like Smurfette and Brainy Smurf in order to use specialized defense abilities. Now, I'm pretty sure the majority of my VR community won't be interested in this game, but due to the fact that I love tower defense games, I grew up on the Smurfs, and I believe Gargamel deserves a bitch slap, I'm gonna have to at least give this game a try. And speaking of games that I at least have to give a try, we have Alliance Peacefighter. This is inspired by some classic space fighters that I grew up with, including X-Wing and Wing Commander. It also looks like they got a drop of Star Fox in there, so overall that sounds like an excellent recipe. The game's playable in both flat and VR modes. There's full HOTA support, a story-driven single-player campaign, plus plenty of starfighting action. Overall, the vibe I'm getting from this title is it could either be a sleeper hit or just an overall forgettable experience. Now, I do personally enjoy arcadey space sims, so if you want me to cover this, please let me know right now down in the comments. Now, moving into new game announcements and updates, we're getting a Wipeout-style racing game with Omega Pilot Evolution. Now, from the same studio that previously gave us Z-Race and Exo Cars, Omega Pilot Evolution is actually a sequel to their original Omega Pilot. It released for PC VR back in 2022 and has positive reviews, but it actually flew under the radar for me. I did, however, really enjoy their original game Z-Race, but what threw most people off is it wasn't a first-person experience, and it was basically like you were driving a car that's attached to your hand. Omega Pilot takes that same high-speed, anti-gravity vehicle experience into first person, and I promise not to miss the game this time around. Now, for the jump scare horror fans out there who have been scratching their head, wondering if the latest installment of Five Nights at Freddy's was actually coming to VR, well, I'm happy to say it has finally been confirmed. When Secrets of the Mimic was originally announced, it was said to include VR support, but then it was quickly removed from all of the game's announcements. Now, as of right now, there's no official release date just yet, but they have confirmed that a PlayStation VR 2 version will be available at a later date. Now, for the racing fans out there, Le Mans Ultimate is leaving early access next month. This originally dropped on Steam in February of 2024, has mostly positive reviews, and they've just been refining the game over the past year. Now, for the uninformed, this is the official game of the FIA World Endurance Championship, where they have these extremely long, up to 24-hour races. Le Mans allows you to drive some of the most extreme racing cars in both single and multiplayer, and there's even an asynchronous co-op mode that you can enjoy with some friends. Now, I won't pretend to be a big racing sim fan or that I actually know everything this game is really about, but I'm sure there's an audience for this one. So if you are a racing sim fan, go ahead and check this game out. And finally, an update to a game that is my style, the VR MMO Ilysia. Now, I've actually had my eye on this game for years now. I experienced large segments of it way before it even released in early access, and I was definitely intrigued and even got this old school EverQuest vibe from it. Now, if you're not familiar with EverQuest, it was the first ever 3D MMO, and I felt like Ilysia was going to be the first ever big VR MMO. Now, the beta has definitely had some significant ups and downs. I know a large portion of it was they had to completely rewrite the backend, as the title was not scalable to be an MMO. Now, after all of that, it looks like this game is finally moving in the right direction. And if you want to find out for yourself, well, good news, because it's going free to play in the near future. Now, if you are someone who has played Ilysia or who is actively playing it right now, please let me know about your experience down in the comments. Now, before I get into a quick little hardware discussion, I did want to mention the VR Arcade Sandbox is getting a brand new Stranger Things experience. While I know this doesn't exactly relate to my audience, I mention it because these are always really cool and a great way to introduce people to VR. So even if you're already a massive VR gamer or someone with zero experience, I highly recommend you try out these arcades, as I personally loved everything zero latency had to offer, and I really need to get my butt over to a Sandbox. And finally, I just wanted to spend a minute to talk about some upcoming XR hardware. The rumor is we're going to get the Project Muhan, Samsung's new headset, in the near future, or at least just some more information. There's also a bunch of things coming from Pimax. I told you I just got my hands on the Play for Dream. There's a lot going on right now, but I always constantly hear we don't need new VR hardware. We need more content, which I do tend to agree with. However, everyone getting back into the XR industry shows that it's strong. I would like to see that Valve Decker this year, but yeah, it sounds like it's been delayed, or just personally, maybe it was never meant to release this year and it was always a 2026 project. But looking at what's coming out, looking at all the new technology, looking how things are moving forward, it's all really impressive. What I'm getting from the Play for Dream right now is extreme quality at an extreme price. But if you work with someone like Valve, whose main goal is to sell software, well, one, they're going to work really hard to make sure their software are available for the device, and two, they will sell their hardware at a loss, like they did with the Index, like they did with the Steam Deck. So you can get a very high quality product for not insanely expensive. So maybe we'll be able to get something even better than the Play for Dream at a reduced price. And that's the future I'm really looking forward to. That's the significance of new XR hardware. That's why I'm so excited. AWE was amazing. Like, you saw technology that blows other things out of the water. It's incredible. And I know it's just a matter of time before it becomes much more mainstream. The XR devices are still in their infancy. Like, Xreal is doing well as a screen, and the Xreal One is the first product I ever said, hey, I could actually use that for work. The FLV needs work and some of their software does need adjusting, but I was like, I could actually use this as a monitor for sure. Some people do it with their Quest. I can't. Nope. Not gonna happen for me. Now, the Snapchat spectacles, I thought were lackluster to say the least, but it's a first generation product and they're willing to jump in and keep moving forward. So I'm pumped for the future. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We're almost at 100,000. I constantly hear from people, hey, I've been watching you for years and forgot to subscribe. Don't do that. Don't be one of those guys. And of course, I'll see you guys on next time.